Hello and welcome to the Borealis Experience. I'm your host Aurora and I'm very happy to be spending some time with you. Mondays and Thursdays is when I publish my episodes, and I don't know how that is for you. Maybe you download the episode on that same day, maybe during the week sometime, but for me it feels like a jour fixe, like a regular meeting with friends and people I can learn from, and it's just so incredibly precious for my soul, for my mental health, and I hope I can bring you lots of value, inspiration, and hope and reflection as well. Oh, it is December already. The year is coming to an end, and I don't know how this year was for you, but it was a really tough one for me. As much as there was joyous times, there was really tough times as well. Lots of learning. So, all in all, very interesting. Today I want to talk about fighting, aggression. I feel we need to talk about those strong emotions a little more often because they are embedded in our nature. As much as some people would like to say that, no, they're never aggressive, and no, we never fight with anybody, especially not with our spouse. I don't think that is the truth. I don't think that it is, real. I don't think that avoiding aggression at all cost is healthy. And as you know me already or are getting to know me better with every episode, what I express here is my opinion. I'm a life coach, I'm a physiotherapist, but you take it all with a grain of salt. You take what is, good for you, what resonates for you, and you leave what doesn't feel good, doesn't resonate with you. So, how is it in your life? Do you have conflicts on a regular? If you look at your relationships, maybe you are in an intimate relationship right now. Reflect for a moment how honestly you express yourself in that relationship. And then if you're not in a committed relationship, romantic relationship, however we call it nowadays, look at your closest people and how you interact with them, especially when something bugs you, when something annoys you, when something is not going the way you imagined, because that's when friction arises, right? We don't run around and pick fights. I guess, there's these people too. But when something happens in a different manner than we anticipated, when a person reacts differently than we wanted them to or expected them to, when people do things in different ways than we are used to doing them, what else can we think of? When we feel disrespected, when we feel the other person is not really valuing our reality. Oh, there's so many, endlessly, endless reasons to feel uncomfortable and to have aggression come up inside of you. And how do you deal with that? I will share with you in a moment how it is for me and how it was for me. Especially with my partners, I used to be very fiery And what that means is that every time I felt triggered, every time something, was bugging me, I started the argument. And I also have to say that I was a very wounded woman back then, and I was with a partner who was, really pushing my buttons and really touching my wounds on a regular. And I did the same for him, not in a good way. We just pushed each other's buttons, if not on a weekly, but bi-weekly, and it really got really explosive many times. And when it came to these fights, and I felt so triggered and I felt so hurt, I would enter the argument with an intention to hurt the other person, with an intention to destroy something. Not in the physical world, like no material, no stuff that was laying around, not throwing things, but emotionally, mentally, I was ready to, cause damage. And of course, if you know that this energy comes up, what is the outcome going to be? The outcome is going to be pain, disappointment, separation, and lots of hurt feelings. And is that going to help the relationship to grow? It turned out, and I had to learn it the hard way, like so many things in my life, that it was not strengthening our relationship. What I've learned now in recent years, and this is why I'm so passionate to talk about, because it was such a huge thing for me to find out, is that fighting is not a bad thing, because that's what I concluded, is that fighting is gonna destroy a relationship, and then it's basically the end, and you can pack your things and get separated. And I tried to suppress my anger in the future in other relationships, but that didn't work either, because I ended up being aggressive in a very subtle, manipulative, and passive aggressive way. So I was really, hopeless with that situation, because I didn't know, okay, these feelings are there. I can't do anything about them. But how can I channel them outside of me and turn the argument into something productive? And what I'm learning now is that it is very much possible. We can learn to express our anger, our sadness, our disappointment in a way that our partner will understand, and for the future will do everything to not make it happen again. And the fine line there is that you have to find out, okay, did the other person actually do something to hurt me? Or is there something inside of me that I still have to heal? Because sometimes when aggression comes up, it can be our neighbor, our sibling, our partner doing something that is really stupid and annoying and doesn't make any sense and is maybe even harming others. But I want you to look at it in the future and see that sometimes we feel aggression, we feel irritation and agitation inside of us, triggered by someone in the outside world, but it has nothing to do with them. They just pushed the little button, but we have to take ownership of those strong feelings now and find out why we are getting so aggressive and why we are feeling so sad, disappointed, powerless, helpless in specific moments. And then the art is to express it and to sit down with that person in taking ownership how you feel, not blaming the other person. Because I tell you what, 90% of the time, if not more, it is you having to do some work on your wounded internal life. And it has nothing to do with the person who pushed your button, because they didn't know better. They didn't know that you were still in pain, because we don't see it as an outsider. We don't see where you are still in need of healing. The people around you are not given a manual on how to handle you. This is how I think we have to approach pretty much every relationship we are in. We have to assume that the people know nothing about us, and we have to do our part to communicate the best way possible on how our brain, our heart functions, what our soul is longing for. And that is what true intimacy is for me nowadays, is to open up to my partner and to say, hey, you know what you said earlier? I felt hurt. It made me feel unvalued, let's say. It made me feel small, and you might not be aware that it makes me feel weird when you say these things, but this is what happened in the past, and I'm working on it. I don't want to be, in victim mentality. I'm trying to hear from this. Can we talk about this a little further and then move on? So, and you can say this in a very emotional way, right? It's not about suppressing all your feelings and suppressing what comes up, but taking ownership for what you feel. I think that is the important thing that we can all learn here. Hey, this really hurt me. Instead of trying to blame and shame the other and attack back, which I used to, do, we say, hey, this is actually what's going on inside of me when you do these things, when you say these things, and can we do something about it? And then the other person learns something about you without feeling blamed or shamed, so their channels of communication are still open. They're not experiencing a shutdown. And you get to express yourself, what's going on, and it is incredibly healing. It is so awesome because the argument is as short as possible. The suffering is as short as possible. And it is just, a great way to connect with your partner on a deeper way. In a deeper way, sorry. So often we are in long-term relationships and kind of start accepting things that, annoy us about the other person. But we decide not to say anything because it is not really important. And some things are really not important to mention. But some things are. And if you decide to not talk about it, then it is like a blister, like a pimple that is growing and growing and growing, and it's going to start to hurt, and you're going to start and be sharp and like weird with your partner. You're going to maybe start avoiding them, or you're going to start teasing them and hurting them. And that is not good. That is going to create separation. People are going to start building walls and guard their heart. And it's not good to live that way. And I observed that, with my parents, with my grandparents, even many, many times, to then see me acting the very same way. So it is so interesting to look at, how do your parents fight? How was it when you were small and you observed or were in fights yourself? What did you learn about arguments? Did you learn that it is a bad thing and it leads to separation and pain? Or did you learn that it is okay to express your emotions and to totally lash out? Or did you learn on how to communicate when something is, not so awesome in your life? So, as usual, I'm burning to hear your experience with fighting and how you deal with fights with your spouse, with your parents, with your friends, with your siblings, whoever it is. Because I believe we can all learn from each other. We can all help each other out. Connect with me on Facebook, Aurora Eggert Coaching, or simply Aurora Eggert. Shoot me a message there. You can connect with me on Instagram, The Borealis Experience. And if you don't mind, make some time and leave a review on Apple Podcast or a rating. Same goes for the Aurora Eggert Coaching page. It means the world to me. It helps me to be more visible to people out there who would, greatly need the content to heal and to feel less lonely. And you are playing a big part in that. Thank you so much for listening. I'm sending my love out to you. Until next time, take good care. Bye-bye.